Alrighty, alrighty. Hello, hello. Greeting. Well, guess what time it is? Final session of the Wednesday game. The Epilogue. So, here's hoping y'all's had a good a good day up until now, and I hope it gets better from here. Um, let's see here. Yeah, I got all aboard who's coming aboard tonight for the final session of D&D for our Wednesday campaign. It has been quite the journey. Quite the journey to say the least. But they did just deal with their big bad. And ugh, sorry, it's still a little sickeroni. And yeah. Without further ado, let me round them up and we'll get to the recap. Who can recall what happened last time? It was quite the interesting turn of events.
We went to double back to explore the cavern path that we hadn't, or one of them we hadn't yet. That was kind of north and west of where we were. And as I scouted the room, I saw a circle of imps doing what looked like maybe a summoning ritual. Um, and just as they got the portal open, a succubus came walking out of the uh, hallway north of that, and winked at me as she disappeared into the portal, and all the imps disappeared into the portal before I could do anything. But that was interesting. She looked like she had been in a fight, so kind of beaten and bloodied up a little bit. But that was it until we got into there and started looking through, and there was just a single guy standing at the end of this really huge cavernous room who was like just talking to himself. And as I got close enough to hear what he was saying, we heard that he was just kind of whispering about the scurrying rats and how he knew we were here. And it was like, oh no, oh dear. So tried to go back, but you could tell he definitely knew we were here. And as we all came in to attack, he started summoning a bunch of those tentacle portals, um, and eventually summoning or opening up a summoning circle at the corner of the room and summoning a bunch of other different stuff. So there was like the one guy that was like able to attack our souls, like right for the um, like wisdom, like attacking our minds. And then there were a couple more that I don't remember what they were distinctly. The other summons that he had pulled out. And so we ended up defeating, it was at least four of those tentacle portals. I remember about those two.
Yeah.
And we were still, I think, working on that soul guy. And then there was at least one other creature in there, if
Wasn't
I
it like a
remember right.
fish creature or something?
Oh, yeah, that like spiky, barracuda, fishy looking evil thing. Yeah. So that's the core of what I remember. But toward the end of the night, I was getting kind of tired, so I can't remember the other details. So I'll pass it along to you guys.
I think. I remember Price summoned his own. the spirit animal thingies.
Yeah, we were all we'd all kind of surrounded this figure who was basically like half human, like half living, half skeletal. And we were just kind of wailing on this, and as things were just summoning in, and he was pretty much like diverting all of our damage, but we figured that it was just best to try and focus on that guy. And there was the big like weird floating fish thing came out, and Price ended up kind of tethering it with vines to try and hold it at bay and keep it out of the fight. And then what was almost like a Slenderman type of figure came through the portal and kind of flanked us a little bit. Was almost blocking our exit slightly. And then as the fight was still going on, I think there was a presence or a figure that seemed to be approaching in this portal. We couldn't really see exactly what it was, but if I remember correctly, I think like Kaito either recognized who it was or just had like a really like bad feeling about it or something.
Oh yeah, Kaido would recognize that was the wasn't it like the same portal from his vision, right? Or am I just
Yeah,
thinking back to the helm that I had found? And I
there
can't
was a
remember if that was
vision
last or before. Yeah.
there was a vision that Kaito had, and there was a connection to that helmet and to that warrior. I believe Kaito had seen uh this fight. And oh, that yeah, I think it was more or less the Kaito's axe was reacting to this figure that was kind of looming, about to come through the portal. And um it was kind of almost all of a sudden, it was like as this figure was either coming through or had just come through, um uh the main cloaked figure, the Slenderman looking figure, and oh, Price got knocked unconscious. There's that as well. Um and I think at that point we were all getting kind of scorched a little bit, and it was getting pretty close. And the tides were kind of shifting in the favor of the big bad guys, and so they had all kind of just turned and left and went through this portal, this floating fish and the like I said, the Slenderman character and this cloaked figure just kind of almost laughed at us and left. And they walked into the portal and basically got away as this creature. I'm trying to. It wasn't a centaur. I think wasn't it just a man on a horse, or was it a centaur?
It was on a cow.
Oh right, yeah, it was like a bull type of. Okay.
Yeah, the armed are on like a flying bull, right?
Yeah, it was like but he was very not necrotic, but like oozing with evil. It was like the dark version of a paladin.
Right.
And Kaito basically, at this point, you just kind of see Kaito shift. He's already been raging, but his axe is just kind of like literally on fire. And that fire from his axe almost kind of carries over to his entire self. He just kind of like goes Super Saiyan and confronts this enemy that comes through the portal, and just looks at all of us and just basically says, "Get out of here, run! Like, I'll handle this." And this like epic fight ensues where just every hit of every clash of their weapons is almost like lightning sparking and thunder roaring, and it's getting more and more intense as this fight starts to progress over, as we're collecting ourselves and trying to get up and leave. And the room itself was heating up to the point where we didn't even really have an option. If we wanted to stay and help Kaito, we would have been probably burned alive. So Price ended up wild shaping into a horse. Can't wild shape into a centaur, but it was the next best thing, kind of as a nod to Kaito as well. And Vimac and Altani had kind of jumped on, and then we all just booked it out of the cave. We had a couple checks for acrobatics and dexterity to make sure we didn't fall in a hole or trip over something. But yeah, we ended up making it outside.
I was told to run and help everybody get out. And me on death's door, I took that and I did stuff.
I remember too, when we came out, we recognized it. The exit we were coming out of was the cave that had been transporting and teleporting. And so we ended up coming out, instead of a swamp, we came out in a forest. That was the other thing. Now that I remember. All comes full circle. And now I'm really curious what that other evil entity was, because if it wasn't the big bad, then who was he? We may never know. Because we would definitely need to level up a whole bunch more before we could take that guy on. And learn how to traverse the portals. But yeah, I think that's where we stopped.
Alrighty. So, as we had wrapped up last time of you guys just barely making your way out of the cave, feeling the heat of the battle that was ensuing inside, even outside of the cave, it is still swelteringly hot. It's like worse than being next to a volcano. Because you've seen people who could walk on the embers and what have you, and this is still just trying to go back in would probably be you being charred to a crisp. And it's at that point that you guys finally have a moment to catch your breath, maybe move a little bit away from the cave entrance, because there is, where else is the heat gonna go? It's gonna find the one exit. So that's kind of where it seems like a lot of the heat is venting outward from. And it is at last that not only are you free from the confines of that winding cave of dangers, of mysteries, of unknowns, that you actually finally get a chance to, as you're outside, you finally get a breath of fresh air, like actual forest air. not damp stagnant cave air with hints of like your mold that is so pungent that it causes you to vomit, or the smell of decaying corpses and bones and what little bits of flesh that remain that hadn't been picked away from the cave insects and rodents. And it is a stark night and day difference. That fresh air is everything right now, albeit perhaps with a little bit of a somber taste to it, considering you did have to leave behind a trusted compatriot to fend to hold the line against something so inherently evil, so incredibly dangerous that there would have been no hope for you all surviving if you tried to stick around and be and assist Kaito in any way, shape, or form. This battle was his and his alone to face. And what fate comes of that? Well, the world may never know. But at least you, the survivors, beaten, bruised, scorched, sliced. What matters is you've survived to tell the tale. And you probably take a moment to catch your breath outside of a cave nearby, trees, rocks, whatever you may choose to. And that's where you guys are free to take the reins. RP away.
Do you think there's any chance Kaito would make it out of that?
I mean, I sure hope so, but I got the feeling that that might have been his final sacrifice.
I got that feeling too, but I was just, is there any chance?
We can only
Looking
hope.
for a glimmer of
That
hope.
portal didn't close, so
Okay.
maybe. I assume that we'd probably, we're all almost dead. We would probably, I think Price would come out of his wild shape. Probably walk a little ways away from the cave, just getting away from the heat. And he might sit down on a rock or something next to a tree, or we were in that cave for a long time, and then having to escape under those circumstances and stuff like that. I think Price is just kind of taking a moment to reflect, and also just appreciate being out of there. So he's just kind of sitting down in the forest, as a druid, just kind of finding some peace and solace in the surroundings.
Are we at a safe enough distance to take a rest, or I don't, not sure. I think we should push on till we are safe.
I mean, it might be good for us to be somewhere in protected side of the cave, just in case Kaido is able to make it out. And also, if there is anything maybe else that might be coming out, we might want to see if we can take it on to protect the area here. Because I'd hate for us to run full speed and possibly let loose something else in this area. But I mean, looking around, I mean, we're probably pretty safe. But if you guys look at me, I'm like so exhausted that my eyes are basically closed right now. And like, I'm, really low on hit points. So for me, I'm physically fine, but it was that mental attack that nearly took me out. So yeah. So I'm thinking, like, honestly, we're probably good right here. And I'm just going to like lay down and like pull some leaves together and put my head on them. Just lay down.
All right, Altani's
That's
laying
what
down
I'm
in the
doing.
forest, exposed to the elements. What's
Because it's
Vimac doing?
perfectly safe.
And
If I have to, I'll take first watch of the cave.
so you guys trying to do a long rest or a short rest?
I kind of imagine that we would have moved a little ways away from the cave. Maybe it's still in view. And probably a short rest, I guess, just to kind of.
Yeah, that's, oh yes.
Back.
I can deal with a short rest until we get to a much safer place to fully rest.
All right. So just kind of looking around as your eyes have adjusted to the sunlight, get the feeling it's probably sometime around midday. The thick canopy is very hard to see exactly where the sun is in the sky on account of, the canopy. But you get the feeling it's probably just based on temperature and how much light there is. It's probably about midday sometime. And you definitely hear the sounds of the birds chirping, the critters making their usual shuffling noises. You probably see a squirrel or some other small forest creature like dart across your eyesight from one bush to another. The birds in the sky. Which is, quite the juxtaposition considering what you just dealt with. And so you guys are taking a short rest. So recover what you would recover. Hit dice, abilities that can do so, etc., etc. And is Price also partaking of the short rest?
Hey, I noticed some wildlife. That's probably a good sign. Didn't we not hear anything before dealing with that cave?
Yep, and it was a very different environment considering the weird burrowing pustulent creature that you dealt with upon entry. And this seems a lot more serene. But an hour passes, and at the end of that hour, you would see from the cave, whereas before it wasn't really fire emanating from the cave, it was just heat. But there does come a point where there is actual like a light in the tunnel that seems to be kind of roaring forward towards the entrance. But luckily nobody's right in front of the entrance, so you don't have to worry about it. But even from your distance, a little bit away in a bit of an Overwatch position amidst this cave entry point, um, you would definitely start to see the flora in the area start to wither, in particularly due to heat. It's a heat wither. Um, and it is at that point where it almost looks like there is about to be an expulsion of flame, or like a gout of flame from the cave, and you hear this really weird, almost just like sound. What do you do?
Well, for my part, that'd probably wake me up out of a rest, and I might panic and grab everybody, be like, "That doesn't sound good. We should probably get out of here." And I'll try and pull them with me, to at least get to a more protected position. If there's like, any rocks or like dips in the earth that we could hide behind, so that we're protected from whatever might be coming out.
Well, there's
But I'm
plenty.
going to be looking at. Okay. So I'll yank them behind a boulder or something with me.
I didn't see Price stepped away. Yeah. So you duck behind. You probably pull Price with you. Vimac, are you a willing participant in getting pulled away from this cave? All right. So as the sound emanates and gets louder and louder, you would see the light that was emanating from the tunnel quickly just flash, like flashbang kind of flash, like white hot heat. And as you shield your eyes for a second, as somebody done gone opened your web browser in light mode, not dark mode, um, your eyes adjust, and where the cave was is just a crater. So you blink and you have to shield your eyes and look away for a second because it's so bright. And now there's just this giant crater in the forest. It doesn't look like it was an explosion because he probably would have been affected by some kind of blowback, but there's just a hole there now.
Like an implosion.
Yes,
Like it was just completely destroyed out of reality.
like poltergeist.
Well, I'm going to kind of lean forward and be like, "No, Kaido!" No, I'm going to hang my head because there's no getting out of that. Like, he was such a good centaur. Can't believe he did that for us.
There's still a chance. It could have just gone somewhere else. And
I mean, yeah. Hopefully he got into that portal. He might have a better chance in that portal than whatever just happened.
yeah,
Well,
Kaito was chasing them, so
that's true. And hey, at least now we don't have to worry about something else coming out of that cave. But it also makes me wonder what happened to the other entity in that cave that's still floating around somewhere. I don't know. Price, could you do detect magic and see if there's any of that weird chaotic ambient magic still in the air?
I stepped away.
Oh, right. We'll just pretend that I say that when he's back. Well, now knowing that at least there's nothing coming after us from that, um, I'd like to kind of scout the nearby area and try and get my bearings, see where we might be, see if it looks like the forest that the cave had been in before that we initially encountered it, or if we're in a completely different area.
Give me a
Would that
survival
be
check.
perfect? Hey.
You don't recognize this particular bit of forest.
Hmm. With the flora and fauna, does the ecology look like something near Delruth?
Let's see. That would be a nature check, interestingly enough.
Okay. All right.
So, based on the ecology, and your knowledge of it, having been a denizen of Delruth long enough, um, you get the feeling that you were relatively close to, and this is the fun part. Roll me a d4.
All right.
3. That is the monastery. Yep. Delruth, Fat Town Monastery. Yep. So 3, you realize you were in relative close vicinity to the monastery, or at least the entry to
Oh.
it.
Okay. The shack
Yes.
thing? Okay.
Let me
Well, I
get
will relay that
that.
to the group. You know, we should, since we're nearby the monastery, we should stop by there and see if they've noticed any changes.
Not that
And
one.
Price, now that you're back, I had asked
That
if
one.
you would be interested in or willing to do some detect magic to see if there's any more of that chaotic magic in the area, or if what just happened kind of resolved it.
Yeah.
And after asking that, I was scouting around the area, so I don't know if in game that would be close to at least part of the 10 minutes that it would have taken.
Probably so. I could maybe also roll it into the rest. It was like the last thing he did during a short rest or something.
Okay.
So, detect magic would convey that there is a lot of magic around, but particularly less ambient and more embedded into the soil, embedded into the trees nearby.
Like inherent magical rather than the chaotic miasma we were walking through.
Uncertain. It just seems like, because it doesn't after we reviewed what detect magic actually conveys to us, it just says magic, unless it's a spell. Then it goes manufactured magic.
Aha. Okay.
But it just kind of seems like in the vicinity of where the cave was, there was, there's magic in like some of the stones and in the soil and in like the trees. But the longer you meander about here, the less and less that those auras seem to be, almost like a heat is cooling.
It's like residue.
And yeah, because that would only be, well, 10 minutes would be. So, and in 10 minutes, you would actually start to notice that it's almost like the soil is filling in, like where the crater is, where this cave was. It's almost like where there was that negative space, that implosion. It's almost like things are kind of starting to return to a natural state, and it's almost like watching things slowly phase into reality. Like the soil is starting to fill in. You're starting to see faint outlines of trees and rocks and stones, and as time goes on, like those outlines become more and more solidified. No, this is the last session. This is the epilogue, right? They're heading home. But
Bryce will
with your
just be
survival
kind
and
of
whatnot,
taking
you
that in.
know where the hut is.
Well, I will probably after figure out that have that dialogue about the magic. Um, I'll kind of point to where I remember the hut being, and like, well, do we want to see if that magical presence reduces the closer we get to the monastery?
Sure.
All right, we'll head out that way.
To which it is nothing more than a hop, a skip, and a jump. And you were to that. Well, at first, you were to that lone hut in the woods. Um, Pretty much just like before. It's kind of foggy around here, pretty misty, very dense fog. But there is something that seems different, and you realize that the door's open this time.
Wasn't the door open before?
Yeah, I'm just messing with you.
No.
Nothing's different.
Perfect. Yeah, well, we'll head in.
And as you walk in, you are greeted by a haggard-looking, long-bearded old man. Looks like human, and he seems to be just sitting in the middle of like the floor, on a round rug, varying degrees of color and dyes. And he has like this round hat on his head. It's tilted down, and you see like a single straw sticking out of his like mouth as he's keeping like his gaze looking downwards at the ground, legs crossed, and he seems to be just sipping on a cup of tea.
Hmm.
And you could definitely see like this really long beard that goes from his face like all the way to like his lap.
Well, hello.
Ah, hello.
Well, I don't know if you remember us, but we were surprised to find ourselves actually nearby after exploring those weird kind of shenanigans we had come looking for before.
The singular piece of straw shifts from the left side to the right. Ah, yes. You must be the one that have dealt with the arcane anomaly.
That would be us.
The monastery thanks you.
Well, it's our pleasure. And you can tell I might be holding back tears a little bit, like though one of our member did not make it back. But his
Ah.
sacrifice allowed us to.
Hmm. And you see like this, like he has sleeves on, but you can see like in kind of wrinkled hand reach up to his chin and just stroke the beard a little bit. Hmm. A noble cause to sacrifice for others.
He
Tell
certainly was
me,
a noble centaur. Mhm.
what was this noble sacrifice's name, so that I can remember it for as long as the documents would allow.
Oh, see, his last name was Strider Shield, right?
Yeah.
Okay. His name was Kaito Strider Shield, the most honorable and courageous centaur I had the pleasure to know.
Kaito Strider Shield. It shall be recorded and remembered in the archives of our great library.
We thank you, and I'll bow to him. We also come here curious to know if those arcane aberrations are still continuing from what you're seeing or experiencing, or have you noticed them ending?
Hmm. Time tells many tales, but we have only recently flipped to the next page.
I think we were asking, is this the last page that we're on?
There's just like a smirk, as you can like kind of see like the bottom half of this guy, old guy's face. So there's just like a smirk. My dear boy, there are many more volumes to go as life continues, and balance is always the goal.
That does seem to be the case.
And at this point, the old man looks like he pulls like a pipe out of his like pocket and slowly like dumps some ash into like some, not really ash into it, but like dumps some ash out of it and like packs it with some kind of herb and puts it in his mouth. So, younglings, what chapter is next for you?
Well, I think first it's important we head back to Delruth. At least seeing that you're here and everything's all right as it can be here, we need to now go home and check in and share the news.
Indeed. Word must be spread of your deed, your sacrifice, your courage.
That is very generous and kind of you. For us, it is truly what we're here to do.
And he strokes his beard like one last time before lighting his pipe. May the wind carry you swiftly to your home, and the night be calm upon your brow.
We thank you. Do send somebody to Delruth if you need our assistance in the future. We're happy to help and happy to know you. We hope you're well and your training continues to go smoothly.
Oh, my dear. I'm spry as ever. My training never ends.
That sounds like a wise and entertaining path.
There's no words. There's just a knowing, like not like tilt of the head, like a nod. Indeed.
Well, we'll leave you to your tea and your meditations. And we'll look forward to meeting again. And I'll look to you guys, Price and Vimac, see if there's anything you wanted to ask him or mention.
I think Bryce will just kind of nod.
I look back at you like not quite sure, in contemplation, but nothing to say.
And then, well, we'll head out.
Alrighty. So as you step out of this hut, the old man remains fairly still, cross-legged still, enjoying their inhalation of whatever herbs that they have acquisitioned. And you start heading out. And as you mosey on out of here, give me a survival as you are trying to head home.
Nice.
Alrighty. So, with a 19, so do you recall it took multiple days to get from here to Delruth? So, essentially, however, you've also done this route a couple of times at this point. So, there would be one day in which you would have to kind of pull over and set up a camp and, rest up for the evening because you did kind of start this whole trip midday after all, especially. So yeah, so you have to basically, well, I guess you can either try and power through the night and take a level of exhaustion, or set up a camp, rest up, recuperate, get an actual long rest, an actual night's rest, albeit out on the road in the wilderness, but it's better than a cold, damp cave full of things trying to murder you. It's in a forest that things could, I guess, technically try and murder you.
I mean, I think getting camp would probably be wise. We've had a harrowing adventure as it is, so that's my vote. But if you both want to push through, we can. Turn it to you guys.
I think
I vote
a rest is.
push through, but that's my vote.
And then, Price, what were you saying?
I was saying I think a rest is good.
Okay. Well, that is 2 for a rest. So I'll turn to Vimac and well, if you have a bunch of extra energy, why don't you be the one to start gathering firewood? And I'll get the camp set up for here.
All right.
And I'll get started on that.
All right, so you gather up some firewood pretty easily. I mean, you are in the forest. It hasn't really rained, so finding some wood that you could use for kindling and an actual fire is relatively easy. And you set up your small little camp with no complication. And is there anybody taking watches, or y'all just flopping down and?
I was first to rest. Yeah, I'll take a watch. I can take whichever. I guess Vimac, if you're feeling lively, you want to take last.
Okay.
Okay. Bryce, do you have a preference?
No, it's fine.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and take first, and then you can take second.
All right. As the day as night befalls day, and the sun is quickly swallowed by darkness. Um, Everybody except for Altani takes their time to lay down, rest, call it the evening. And is Vimac sleeping like in a tent? Is he just sleeping on the ground? Is he just like grabbing a bush and just throwing it over him?
I got my bedroll, but that's about it.
Okay, so you got a bedroll. You're fine. And Price.
Price is probably just kind of like normal. He'll probably just, I guess, picturing we're not really on the road, just maybe off of a little bit, just in the tree line. So he'll probably find a spot next to a tree, to set his briefcase, and that's next to everybody, and climb into his briefcase.
All right. So Altani, give me a perception check for your watch.
Who needs that inspo?
Kaito does.
Oh, too little, too late. Mac, do you and Price both have one?
I don't
do.
have one.
Price, you can have one. Have it.
Please. Alrighty. So, with your natural 20, you would see a very familiar looking wolf. It is sitting just on the outskirts of the camp as it pads closer. And you look back and you see that Vimac is sound asleep and Price's suitcase is closed and locked. And as this wolf approaches, as it's stepping forward, it's almost like it starts to like stand up on its hind legs until it takes the form of a humanoid. However, not one that you've met before. This one seems to be... So this guy seems to have like fiery like red hair. It's very long, goes all the way down to like his his lower back. Very chiseled jawline and clothing. He kind of has like wolf furs on, so it's like on one shoulder there kind of looks like a wolf pelt, like a wolf head pelt, and like over the other shoulder is just like a really thick coat of like furs, and they're just like dressed in like these really thick fur. Um, and the thing that really stands out to you though is their eyes are like this deep red that only really catch probably reflecting a little bit more in the flickering of the light. So you're not really sure if it's that red or if it's just the fact that there's a campfire and the coloration of the light. But this individual approaches you with hands in front of it, kind of like in a bowing position. Yeah, this is the last one. Sister Altani.
Well met. Well met, stranger.
Well met. Well met. We have sought you out for quite some time.
Sir.
Yes?
Sorry. See, real quick. Does I'm trying to remember from the last interaction we had with Puppy Daddy. Did like Altani basically like forget a whole bunch of her own past? Is that why? Like, I'm trying to remember what you and I talked about. I'm sorry.
It's even better if you, the player, don't remember. It's even better because that's method acting.
Excellent. Okay, I'm back. All right, let's do this.
Sister Altani, it's been quite the journey to find you. How have you been?
Oh, just nearly getting killed in a teleporting cave from, portal spawn of ultimate evil. How about you? And I'm just gonna look at him like, what is happening?
Traveling the land, seeking out more of our kind. You know, there is a great evil that still looms beneath the surface. And he just holds up a hand and points to the sky from below and above.
Hmm. I mean, I guess I figured it couldn't be that easy when that cave disappeared, but do you think that we actually made any sort of a difference?
Every defeat that these evils take is a step closer to pushing them away, moving them back to the realm that they belong. Not this one, not ours, not theirs. And he gestures to Vimac and Price's suitcase. These evils do not belong here.
That's true. And the people of this realm definitely don't need all of the chaos and suffering that they're bringing. Well, I don't know if you recall, but I seem to have lost quite a bit of my memory of family and my past prior to joining the Adventurers Guild. So you'll have to excuse me, but why have you sought me out? How long has it been since I had last seen you?
Hmm. Hmm. He seems. He kind of looks past you a little bit. But he definitely looks past you, just like trying to find an answer. Time moves differently. It is difficult to say. But I only come here seeking information on your deeds. What evils have you vanquished? We
Well,
were able to detect a presence, and then it was gone. And here you are.
well, that is somewhat of a story, but we had been following stories of evil and aberrant magic that seemed to be running wild, causing all sorts of chaos and portals to break open in areas where the realms were thin. And we found ourselves in this cave where it seemed like multiple evil entities had been calling it their home. And actually, immediately preceding us finding our way back out of that cave, we lost a brave one of our members as he basically gave us a chance to escape this being I do not recognize, but somebody in a great deal of armor riding a flying bull. If that makes any sort of sense to you?
Give me an insight check.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. I'm gonna use my inspiration on that because that's a silly place for a one. That's better.
It's also applicable. Some things are just hard to read.
It's true.
So with an 18, there's a pause, and they seem taken aback.
Hmm. That seemed to strike a memory.
This does not bode
Does
well.
that what do you know of that being?
Those
Does it
beings have fought alongside us against the evils. And you say
Mhm.
one was corrupted?
Appeared to be. It was working alongside a, I don't know, sorcerer, cultist, a being that was incredibly powerful, able to open portals of writhing void tentacles and summon creatures that I'd never seen before into this plane. And, but possibly had been fighting with creatures from another realm. Because before we ran into him, we also ran into what appeared to be a succubus who had just been in a big fight, who disappeared through another portal with a group of imps. So
Mm.
I
You
don't know
are
if they were fighting against one another or not.
you are very lucky to have survived.
That's for sure.
And the
I'm
fact
gonna look
that
all dejected.
you lost a party member. And at this point he drops to a knee, clenches his fist, and like pounds his chest twice with his head down. May their fight take them to the bowels of the darkness. And then he stands back up. You've
I hope.
survived a Reaper.
Oh, do they? Is that the creature riding the bull, or the creature that was creating all those summons?
The being that you describe, their words, their tone, their attire, all of which leads to an enemy even we have not been able to defeat. What is worse
Wow.
is that is not the only one of them.
Well, he was laughing as he walked back into his portal, so he must have realized that we couldn't have done anything to him.
Yes, they
We
are.
really were lucky for getting out of there.
Yes. They do enjoy playing with their food.
That was pretty accurate to how it felt.
Then
Well,
it is good that you survived. It is good you lived to tell the tale. That also means that we have a lead, at least. We've been tracking another Reaper. Tell me, have you heard the name Marn before?
OOC,
You
halfling.
have not.
Okay. No, that doesn't sound familiar at all. Is that the name of the other Reaper?
That is the one that we have been tracking. But the
Hmm.
fact that you have found another one is equally harrowing.
And I don't know if it helps, but there was another dark entity that seemed very, very easily able to get inside our minds. Well, mine anyway. It was talking to me and another of our party members, but it seemed trapped. I'm not sure if trapped in another realm or some other arcane fashion, but
Like I said,
I wonder if it's connected.
this realm is riddled with foes clawing at the seams. Factions vying for territory. Outsiders breaking the boundaries and finding ways through the cracks. You know something is wrong when even the hells are fighting on your side. Times are dire.
I mean, that's true. But do you think that can we rely on the help from the hells? Or will they just become another opportune enemy
They
if
are
they see
never
us
to be
becoming weakened
trusted.
from these reapers.
He completely just cuts you off. He just goes, they are not to be trusted in any capacity.
Yeah, that tracks from what we've experienced so far. And I'll turn the I guess Vimax asleep. I was just thinking, like, I mean, his summons are like at least one of them is an infernal, but I guess being a summon, it's kind of bound by certain rules that don't allow it free will.
Well, I must report this information to the others. Things are worse than we thought. 2 Reapers in the
What should we
same
be looking
location.
for around here?
For
I mean,
now,
is this
rest.
well, that sounds like the best idea I've heard in a while. Well, we'll keep a lookout. Um, any particular areas nearby that we need to be cautious of?
He just holds up a hand. Don't. What has been handled by you is more than enough for this area for the time being.
All right. Well, in that case, we'll report back to where we've been and hopefully do something to get prepared against what it sounds like is coming.
Indeed, even the Feywild has grown restless. That will be my next query.
Oh, and I'm not sure if you've seen our father, but I know he was concerned when we went into the cave, tried to warn us away from it. Let him know that we're all right, okay?
He just gives a nod. I shall. As he slowly turns and his body shifts back down to its wolf form. And then he looks back at you with like a nod before disappearing into the shadows outside of the flickering range of the camp fire. Words.
As he disappears, I'm going to kind of just mumble to myself, be like, man, I wonder how much more family I have running around this place. What all have I forgotten? Is there anything else on my watch that I
Nope,
need
that
to be
was it.
aware of? All right. Well, I guess I'll sit in contemplation and just keep an eye out of things until the end of my watch, and then I'll wake up Price.
How do you wake up Price? He's in the suitcase. Do you yeet
I
the
will go up.
suitcase? Do you shake it?
No, no, I'm too polite for that. So I'll go up and I'll knock and be like, "Wakey, wakey, Price! Time for your watch." And if I don't hear anything, I might escalate. But is that sufficient to wake Price up?
Yeah, you'd probably hear some rustling a little bit, and
Okay.
then the clasps would just click open.
You'd see Price's head stick out of the suitcase, and Scooter's ginormous face right behind him, menacingly. Ah.
Like, don't worry, Scooter. All's well. Thanks
And
for
as you
keeping
say
an
that,
eye out on Price.
Yeah. Scooter's head just slowly sinks back down, almost like watching him go down an elevator.
He's such a good goose. I will I won't relay the whole story yet because I don't want to have to necessarily repeat it multiple times. I'll wait till the full morning to tell them all of what happened, but I will tell Price at least that I got a visit from my brother, apparently. And there's things We have a minor reprieve, but things may be getting worse than we expected. So keep an eye out, but we should be safe enough here where we are. And wake me if he needs if anything goes awry before morning. Then I'll settle in and go to bed. Which will basically involve me just kind of like burrowing into a big old pile of leaves and wrapping my cloak around me, holding this squirming treasure dog pack thing, if it's still squirming
Yeah, it's still squirming.
with us. Yeah. I'll be just like, shh, sleep now. Run tomorrow. I'll sleep.
So yeah, Bryce, you are awake. Altani went to bed. Let's start off with the perception. And what are you doing?
Um, I'm
I
not
thought I
sure.
heard you say
He's
something.
probably just
Oh, there you go.
he's probably just
Quiet.
I don't know. It's like he's probably just on watch and looking around and maybe trying to. He probably hopes something will catch his attention so that it'll kind of keep his mind off of things.
All right. So with a 21, you guys are off road. Um, and as you're just kind of being about, you could definitely hear the sounds of something like a noise nearby, but it's a consistent noise. So it's like it doesn't sound like whatever it is trying to hide itself. It's not like a predator that's like, you know, you hear a leaf and then you hear a branch and then you hear a leaf. It's just like kind of sounds like maybe a vehicle of some kind is going by. And with your expertise, a wagon of sorts.
Okay. Um, I guess so. So we're off the road. They wouldn't be able to see us, I guess, if they rolled by.
Probably not, considering.
Um,
But you only
Bryce will
hear it right
probably,
now, so.
yeah, he'll probably, he'll be close to where Vimac and Altani are sleeping, and um, he's already fairly small, but he'll kind of try and remain a little bit hidden and just keep an eye out in case this wagon rolls by or there's anybody with it that he recognizes or any anything really. This has kind of got his attention, and so he's fixating on something.
Kind of sounds like they might be passing by.
And I mean, does he see like torches through the trees and things like that, or hear people talking, or is it just
So you definitely hear people talking. The trees it's pretty dense, so you wouldn't really see any light, but it sounds like they're somewhat close, just not visual confirmation close. And it kind of sounds like then it doesn't sound like they're heading towards you. It sounds like they're heading like, crossing a T kind of situation.
mm-hmm.
So you kind of get the indication that if you do nothing, they'll probably just pass by.
All right. Well, he'll probably just kind of sit back down and um just hang out and keep an eye out.
All right. So it kind of sounds like the wagon and the travelers are they just pass on by. That's the gist of the encounter. That's funny.
He might take out like his little journal, kind of like jot down some notes every once in a while. But every couple minutes he'll, poke his head up and kind of do another scan around and just make sure that we're still all good.
Yep. Seems like the only interesting thing that has happened is the people passing by. But you can give me, since you're just contemplating things, gonna be intelligence based. Let's go with insight. That's the closest thing I can think of that would apply to this.
Right.
So as you're sitting there, you know, you heard some people, they weren't really being quiet about it. A wagon came and went. Some travelers talking about just mundane things, probably. But they weren't in visual range. And as they come and go, you just sort of have a bit of like a little bit of nostalgia, like the open, like being out on the open road, just being a traveler again, just you and Scooter out there slinging wagons. Like you haven't really had a chance to sell a wagon in a long time at this point. You sold maybe one through a contract and built one, got one completed, and there's just like this moment of like after having been, you know, knocked unconscious, beaten, bruised, battered, burned, blasted, yeeted, bludgeoned, and there's a little bit of a like I kind of miss the good old days of just being out there and selling wagons and making wagons and just kind of just like everything that I've been doing lately is danger, and you just yearn for the open road again as you just kind of look up and the thoughts of like the passersby and like just thinking that they're probably just like traveling merchants and they're probably just doing exactly what you used to do before you became an adventurer. Haunted houses and haunted caves and monasteries, and it's just like, man, life was so much simpler just being a salesman.
Yep. Just reminiscing.
But I mean, beyond that, nothing else seems to transpire during your watch. And I'd even imagine Scooter probably eventually popped out of the case and just sat down next to a tree. Like right like probably like right behind you, and you just didn't even notice as you've just been zoned out. And for whatever reason, Scooter found this like kid's hat in your workshop and it's on like backwards. I swear he's gonna start dancing. No, just kidding. Anyway.
Well, if
Foreseen
if
because we're back
that
in the force.
is my watch
Other one.
and nothing else was going to necessarily happen, you'd probably wake Vimac back up and corral Scooter back into the suitcase.
We're back
Is
in
it
the force.
my turn?
Oh, yeah. Nothing really happened. Some people came by, but they just walked by. I didn't really see who it was, but that was about it.
Okay. Enjoy your rest.
Alrighty. See, he's kind of like the suitcase is open, and he's kind of standing like with a wide stance, and his arms are out to his side, and he's kind of shuffling back and forth. He's kind of got Scooter trapped between like this rock and a tree, and the suitcase is behind him, and Price is just kind of like backing Scooter down as he just kind of like slowly gets back into the suitcase before climbing in as well, and it shuts and the clasps latch.
All right. So, Vimac, we'll start off with a perception check. And what are you doing during your watch?
I would be keeping myself awake by one or kind of pacing around in like 15-minute intervals of like going around looking.
Like a soldier on watch, pathing.
More. Yeah.
All right. So a 17. So you just sort of on, I guess more of a patrol. So you're kind of just patrolling around the camp, keeping an eye out for things. Um, and do you have any familiars out?
Yeah, I still had my.
Which one?
It was my closet ice.
All right. So your closet would probably be just like sitting next to the fire, probably holding its hand over the fire, just, you know, denizen of probably not hot enough to burn it. Um, and, Heist is just staring into the flames. And then eventually looks towards you as you're on patrol.
We could just leave them. We could go on our own
We're
adventure.
only a day away to get back to camp. And then we get paid so we can go on an adventure.
So we leave them after we get paid. Yes, I like this, boss.
If the job's over, yeah, our assignment will be over and we'll go to a new one.
So we can do more looting, right? More looting, more killing, yes.
There'll probably be killing involved, but looting as in getting paid for our jobs, then yes.
Yes. Sure, yes, I like that. That's why I accepted your contract, boss.
And he turns around and gives you a thumbs up.
Also, when are we going to your homeland? You did promise.
I don't know. Maybe we can take a break and go back before our next assignment. That might be a good thing to do.
Do you think they have a murder guild over adventures guild over there?
Well, there's an Adventures Guild there.
Yes.
But we also should probably look into. Did you notice the cloud giant? All of the cloud giant from the history from that cave. Should probably do some research into that.
Yes, yes. You could definitely do some research in a cave of danger. Danger.
And there's just a row of sharp teeth as he's smiling wide at the mention of danger.
Yeah, there will definitely be more danger. Seems like just about every time I go on these ventures, I'm on death's door. So that's
What is
definitely
life
in the cards?
without a little bit of risk, right? Hmm?
Yeah, we can. You could put it that way.
What of those two, though?
And he points to Altani wrapped up in leaves in the suitcase.
Do we leave them to their own? Hmm? They seem quite acute at murder.
Yeah, they might have other plans I'm not aware of. So maybe we will meet them again and do more, as you say, murdering adventures.
Yes, Ice likes the murder. Especially when it's someone else.
Yeah, we definitely need to rest you up because you were almost murdered.
Almost, almost. You would have brought me back, and I get
That's
to
true.
do it again and again and cause so much mischief. But I will abide by the contract.
Very well.
Also, if you use any of the others, tell them they suck. From Heis.
And he smirks
Okay.
wide.
Man of many contracts.
But with that 17, you don't. Nothing stands out. No predators, no attacks, no unusual thingamadoos popping out of nowhere. The pretty quiet night aside from your murder hobo. And your patrol goes without a hitch. Ooh, lot stuff over. And your watch pretty much comes to a conclusion.
Then I will wake the others since it's morning time. Knock on Price's chest and then go wake Altani.
Any excitement?
No. Price said he saw some people passing by, but I did not.
I guess it's encouraging if people feel safe enough that they can traverse the area again. Of course, I mean, unless it's bandits, in which case, not really safe for anybody but them. Well, I guess let's make our way back. I'll get up and start packing up camp.
Alrighty. So it doesn't take you too long to pack up the camp because there wasn't really much of a camp in the first place. You kick out the embers, cover it with soil, let it, burn itself down and out. And then you pretty much pick up early in the morning as before the sun fully crosses the horizon. There's a little bit of light. One of you can, whoever's leading the charge, give me a survival. And that is fine. The DC was 10 because you've
Oh, good.
traversed
done
this
before,
part
huh?
a few times at this point. And you make your way back as it's only a couple of hours before you catch on to a couple of paths that you've taken before, and then eventually hit the road. You basically find the makeshift road, and yeah, so you basically find the road. It doesn't look like it's complete yet, but it does look mostly done. And off to the side, you can see what looks like you basically find the end of this partially constructed road, and you would see these very large holes in the ground next to it. Do you take a look, or do you just keep going down the road?
I think you're muted.
I just muted myself to talk to you. That was helpful. Yes, I I would like to stop and take a look.
In the hole, it looks like there's caution tape that says "mole hole, construction underway."
Oh, good. Well, that's encouraging. Looks like the mole people have been making some progress. That's great.
And as you poke your head over the hole, you see just out of nowhere, just a mole person pops their head out with these big, Hubert Farnsworth, Futurama, shades on. As it is, the sun is kind of rising, so they need to,
The bright time.
Oh, hello. Don't mind us.
Well, hello.
We're just doing construction.
Well, that's wonderful. The road's looking great. You getting settled into this area okay?
Yep, we're definitely getting lots of constructions done, and yep, we're getting roads connected to other villages, and then there's gonna be trade, and we're gonna get to live underground, and it'll be so much. It'll be nice. It'll be cool.
Well, that sounds wonderful. I'm so happy for you. Is there any messages you'd like to pass along to Delruth? We're on our way back.
Nope, we're just doing our job, ma'ams.
Well, we certainly appreciate it.
He puffs out his chest and does a salute, and almost comically falls back into the hole. And you can hear the sounds of digging.
Well, that definitely seems to be good progress. We'll continue on.
Yep, and as you're walking away, you can see where the road has the where they have gotten up to. You can see how they're constructing the remainder of the road, and what it looks like they're doing is they're pushing up mounds of dirt, and then they come up to the surface and flatten it, and then add stones to it, and then go back under and reinforce. It kind of looks like this whole process.
Amazing. Well, it looks like they certainly asked the right people to help with that project.
And since you're on the road, it's a pretty quick route back to Delruth, as this road leads directly to the walls of Delruth. However, interestingly enough, as you are making your way to the town, it looks different. Oh, I want the. This is the one I want. There we go.
Can't wait.
It appears. There we go. It appears as if a lot of the buildings that were under construction look like they've been completed. The burned down buildings, like all the debris has been cleared, the roads have been cleaned. The roads here look very, very well cobbled, probably probably thanks to the mole people. Goblins are still roaming around. You see off in the corner, off a little bit in the distance, you see what looks like a tiny little field and a couple of like sheds, and it kind of looks like goblins are sneaking into one shed and another team is sneaking into the other shed, and then they both start to meet in the center, and they kind of seem they're pointing fingers at each other and yelling and spitting and like grabbing each other and like shaking, and you probably have a pretty good idea of the rules of Ambush League at this point. They're working on their Ambush League team.
Very good.
But as you were actually, because this is kind of like on the outskirts, but as you're getting closer and closer, you see that there are several new buildings that have been erected. There are buildings made of a combination of metals, like wood with reinforced metal, and there's some buildings made of stone that are that have wood inlaid in them, but also with like metal foundations for stability. You would notice that there is a new shop in town. There appears to be the alchemists seem to have their own little their own little shop that's not just, rented out space or, just an inherited spot temporarily. It's their actual shop, which the name. Oop, nope, I don't want that. It's under that. And it would be. Where are they? Oh, don't tell me I didn't. Yeah, so basically it's just, you see a little sign that says Alchemist Emporium on the sign that hangs out in front of it. You'd see that there are people coming and going inside of this shop, some of them going in with like herbs and whatnot, and some of them coming out with herbs, and the same with like people who look like they might have just purchased some potions and flasks and all things alchemy. Off to the side where Glorb's shop would be, I'll just use this as a rough example. Off where Glorb's shop would be seems to be a 2-story building with a warehouse behind it, and you would see outside there appears to be like an auto gnome that's out. It looks like they're carrying stuff in and out of buildings. You can't really see what's going on inside, but so it just kind of seems like he's carrying heavy stuff from the warehouse to Glorb's, and there's a big sign on the front that says Glorb, but it's written almost like, looks like it was done in crayon, but somebody like laminated it and like slapped it on a signpost. And you would see like a little smokestack coming out of the top, and like I said, it's 2 stories plus a warehouse behind it. You would see the Adventurers Guild, whereas before they were a singular, basically just like a one room, you know, big enough for a few people, a table, some file cabinets. They have erected an entire like guild hall now. It's almost akin to the size of like a small church. Um, and you would see that it's a lot nicer. It's made of like stone. Yeah, it's made of like stone with like black painted like metal. So it kind of has this like contrast of like light and dark. Um, and it just says Adventurers Hall. Let's see the other buildings. And this is as you're walking around town and just seeing the activity. The goblins are out and about. The people are smiling and happy. There's probably a couple of mole people, but they have like the big thick glasses on to avoid basically being blinded above ground. You would see Lionel roaming about. Same old, same old. Um, the the church, like the church building that was, where you had a lot of people like doing like triage and stuff. That's expanded into a couple of extra buildings now. Um, Basically different pantheons of worship. So they're even expanding their religious acknowledgement. Um, the tavern with the tavern that used to be pretty tight, pretty small. Oh, I'm getting sniffly. Has also expanded to much larger. The tavern is now 3 stories. The first floor. So whereas before, like in the tavern, it was like the area where there was the big table and all the rooms there. So this whole floor where the bedrooms used to be, the whole floor is now a tavern area. So there's a whole the table's still in there, but there's just more space for people in this area. And then you see inside as somebody probably like opens the door briefly as you walk by. Um, they have glammed up the place, as some might say, with gold, like gold and silver infrastructure. It's metal, but it looks like it's painted gold because goblins got to make shit shiny. Um, this nice like oak wooden floor, weather treated and everything. All the tables look nice. There's just like a fresh smell of like freshly cut wood that just emanates from the building, aside from the alcohol and food. Um, and most importantly, you guys officially have a stable now, to which you would see the chili dogs and Jeb just kind of meandering about. But one thing they haven't quite fixed yet is the height of the fences. As the fences are pretty good for keeping like sheep and cattle and stuff in, not so much chili dogs and a raptor. And as soon as you guys like get in their line of sight, they all just like poke their heads up and see you guys, and their tails start wagging. You would see like little puffs of like little snowflakes like shaking off of the chili dogs just in excitement. And Jeb is just like runs up to the fence and, he sticks his head like through between like the some of the fencing, because it's really not meant to hold creatures like these in, but they're just sort of there right now. And this is the outside of the stable, and there's an actual like building for horses and um, carriages that come through and beasts of burden in a close to this area, but not close enough that like the chili dogs will just hop the fence and eat like the sheep. So they're a bit far apart. And amidst all of this, you would see a very noticeable trio of booyogs high-fiving each other, as they always do. And of course, the mayor. But yeah, Delruth has a whole new theme, a whole new look. A majority of the town, like, there's a lot of stone and wood with metal reinforcement. And some buildings are more metal than wood for their reinforcement. But you get the feeling that a lot of this material is probably the stuff you guys collected early on. So all of the fruits of your labors have finally shown to be, um, or showing. And yeah, so yeah, you guys are in town and people are out and about. It's busy up in Delruth.
Well, that's amazing. First of all, I am so happy. I'm probably going to have my jaw drop a little bit as we walk through town, just taking in the sights. Being like, did we come back to the right town?
Yeah,
This
is this the
looks
same
familiar,
place?
but wow, how long were we gone, you guys? I'm like beginning to worry. Like, was there like a whole time dilation shenanigans going on in that cave? Have we been gone for years and not like a week? Like, this is amazing.
Yeah, Price is just kind of taking everything in, looking around. I'm kind of probably with all the like hustle and bustle going on. We're probably just all like just like I don't know, like I'm picturing us just walking by Glorb's shop, not poking in and saying hello like we normally would, but just like taking everything in. Um, Normally we would just walk straight into the tavern and like kick our feet up and get some food, but it's like this time we're just kind of like it's almost like walking through the town for the first time again. I would imagine we're just all kind of like slowly just taking like the sights in and appreciating everything. Would probably eventually get to like the center of town where we would just be kind of looking around and you know uh taking a few moments, and then I think Price would make a couple stops. He would go deliver the some of these samples collected from the cave to Marketh and the uh alchemy shop, and then probably pop into uh to Glorb's shop and just kind of appreciate what he's done and um take a look around.
Glorb's forge is bigger than
And
ever
then
and brighter than ever.
I
And as soon as you
tell what he
so
focused on.
so you went to the alchemist shop first.
Yeah, probably.
So Marketh greets you as you walk in, and once you walk in, you see that there are kids having the time of their life. As there's a little area, almost almost akin to like a little petting zoo area, where they have like a little saddle on the back of chompers, and the kids are just getting like trotted around on them.
That's adorable.
Ah, welcome. Return. Oh, you return. And with things, yes.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know really if you can do anything with this or figure out what it is, but and he's probably got, I think, if I remember correctly, about all the different sample collections. I think there was like 2 or 3 different things. Maybe a couple of them were the same. but he's got like 3 vials, and he's gonna present them to Marketh, and I think there might be some poison properties, or maybe, and he's gonna kind of lean in and put like his hand up, almost kind of like he's leaning in, telling a secret, or maybe some hallucinogenic properties in so he's gonna kind of lean, like, straighten back up and act very inconspicuous.
Ah, Marketh knows exactly who to give. And the 3 Kreen
Oh,
roams by, and there's no verbal words. There's just they just look at each other and nod.
oh,
Nah,
and
he's
then there's this one too.
very good
He
with
reaches
the
into a different
herbs.
reaches
Yes?
into a different pocket, and this is gonna be more of like a jar, um, that's got kind of like a large just cork stopper in it. Um, just looks to be filled with water or a clear liquid. I got this from a river that was flowing backwards, and someone drank some of the water and turned into a dinosaur. So some pretty neat stuff.
That would be my specialty.
And he'll set the jar just kind of like on the counter, and at this point he's kind of like patting himself down, just trying to see if he's forgetting anything. I don't think so. I think that's it.
Around that time, I'll probably make my way in as well. Be like, "Oh, Price, good. You were able to give them all the stuff we found."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I had forgotten to give you this. I didn't realize you were coming here right away. And I'll pull out this probably questionable now that wrapped like chunk of meat from what was it? Oh my god, I can't even remember now. Something
It was a
regenerative.
troll.
Oh, it was the troll. That's right. Like, well, no, because there was I gave them the not from the original wizard guy, but it was it the ooze maybe? Because we gave him the regenerative troll meat from the great what's his name
Oh, it
already.
might have been from the Hydra then.
Uh yes, it was from the Hydra. That's what it was. So I'll give him a chunk of like it's got like a couple of scales and stuff on it, and be like, so
Question?
brought you some Hydra meat. These guys also were incredible at regenerating, so hopefully maybe you can do something with this. So I'll give him this like package that's probably starting to get a little ripe. Maybe, I don't
Ah,
know.
that
Maybe it doesn't
reminds me.
decompose. Who knows?
Here. And he hands over a potion to you. This was what I was able to make out of the troll flesh you gave before.
Oh, so what did you
The
find out?
fir-
What were you able to make it do?
Well, it is very good at regenerating your wounds very quickly. Over time.
Oh, very nice. Thank you so much.
That was the
I'll
deal
tuck it in my
after
bag.
all. The first one, the first test run was to be yours.
Well, I am still very appreciative. Thank you so much. This will come in very handy. And hopefully the Hydra meat is a benefit to you as well. That was kind of a surprising thing to come across.
Price. Yes. It is good that you survived and were able to acquisition useful things. Ah, yes, and this. And then he reaches into He kind of looks like he has a bandolier of flasks, and he seems like he counts like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ah, yes, this one. And then he hands it over to Price. It is only fair that if you bring us ingredients, that we provide you with something as well.
Oh, well, thank you.
Get this to Price. Gotta import it to him. Yes. It has
I think there
been
was something
a long rebuild, but
else.
we are making progress. We have our shop, and I guess all we need now is more customers. Import this.
Well, with products like what you have, and your healing potions were a great deal of help. I have no doubt that we've been talking about your shop everywhere we've gone. So I'm sure you'll be getting more customers from all around, especially from the monastery. They would probably benefit greatly from some of these items. I think they'll be happy to know that you're doing so well.
Indeed, and it is not without taking note that it was thanks to you that we now have an opportunity to make and research more interesting things.
I'm glad we could help. I feel like we will work best if we work together. Well, I won't keep you. I still have a couple more stops. And I really love what you've done with the place. And I'm going to look over at the Chompers petting zoo area. I feel like that is fantastic addition to the space. Chomper looks quite happy.
Yes, it keeps him from biting our claws.
I bet.
So then, I believe Price, you were heading to Glorb's next.
All right.
Yeah. Just to kind of look into the shop, and these were basically like two of the stops that Price would make every time we came back to the town. So just sticking with the routine.
So as you walk in,
I'll follow you down there.
good old Flex is walking out with a huge crate of stuff. He can't even like see you. It's stacked so high. Flexin', flexin', flexin'. Ooh yeah. As he just walks, looks like he's carrying stuff to the warehouse. And you walk in, and Glor points to you.
Yes, yes, yes. Welcome, welcome. Yes, yes, yes. Look, look, look. It happened. It happened.
As he points to his forge.
Is he pointing to the forge? Yeah. Price will scurry over.
You would see that there is a flame that is currently so hot that the flames themselves are in the spectrum of like white hot, but luckily it is currently contained in a, like, it feels like the heat is contained because it's like you're getting up closer and closer, and you think this would, just by virtue of heat, you would assume that you would be feeling heat, but it's like it's contained.
Yes, yes. Glorb figured it out. Glorb's smart. Glorb is best. Patience.
So you got your time, huh?
Yes, yes. Glorb has made many things very quickly. Yes, and Glorb's excited. Glorb gets to make some other things soon. Glorb. That was Glorb.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'm
This is hard to do that
Impressed
voice right
with
now
the
because I'm
shot
sniffly.
now.
Yes, Glorb has many things now. Many. Look.
And he points to like some wall mounts where there are like swords, very nice swords, like really nice swords, like mounted on the wall. There's like some maces. Like he's done a whole like weapon arrangement. Um, there is some armor in here, but it looks more dinged up than anything. Probably conveying he's not that good at armor smithing yet, but he's really good at sharp, pokey things and sharp and um bludgeony things.
Glorb no good at armor yet, but Glorb get later. Glorb just need time.
And he nods.
Bryce will
Oh,
just nod
Glorb,
back. Yeah.
here, maybe I'm gonna chime in and be like, well, maybe this will be something you could study that could help you. And I'll grab that helm that we had found. We found this in the last cave we were in.
Yes.
And he just puts it on immediately.
Does anything happen when he puts it on? We never studied it to figure out what it did.
Nothing you can see.
Okay.
Because they never studied it.
But yeah, I don't think there was, besides that helmet, I don't think that there was anything that we were bringing him. I think Price was just
Oh,
kind
there
of
was
looking into the shop.
also there was actually also that that cold gem that I found that was behind the wall. So I'll also tell Glorb about the that suit of armor or whatever looked like a hidden knight or something in the wall that we saw.
Oh.
Yeah, it was stuck behind too much like rock for us to get to it. But
Glorb too busy to go mining.
And he just kind of waves his hand.
well, also too the cave may have imploded, so I don't think you'd be able to get to it now.
Perfect. Then that means Glorb no need worry
It
about it.
That's right. I just didn't know if it would help you identify what the stone could be used for.
What stone?
This
He-
one. And I'm going to hand him that ice blue stone. Does this look
Ooh.
like kind of a cold version of the one that other one that you had?
Shiny.
His eyes just get wider it's almost like fisheye lens zoom in as he's just staring into this gem, just completely and utterly enraptured by it.
Oh, I'm going to look at Price, be like, oh, yep, this may have a somewhat similar impact to the red one.
Oh yeah, and by the way, you have seen a bunch of goblins like laying on the ground as the sun is coming up, just looking into the sky with their eyes wide open, some of them tearing up. Forgot about that.
Good old sun training, right?
Well, now Glorb's enraptured by Jim.
Well, I'll leave this in your very capable hands. See if you can put it to use.
Glorb
And then
put you Yep.
I think I will also offload. I think I have some spare, a long sword and a short sword that I would hand off to him because I don't need them.
Yeah, that put in corner.
And he's like
uh-oh.
still looking at the gems, just like pointing into the corner.
I'm gonna I'm gonna turn to Price, be like, I'm gonna come back and check in on him tomorrow and make sure he's not still here staring at that. I might have to hold on to that gem or give it to Luana.
No, Glorb figured this out real soon. And then he looks up at, he kind of like does the gesture for Price to come over, kind of like that hand signal, like, come here, come here, come here. He also doesn't seem like he's looking directly at Price, so you are free to slip out if you wish.
You good, Price?
Yeah, Price would just kind of he'd just look around the shop and just kind of like give an approving nod, and then head out.
As Glorb is still making like the hand gestures well after you've left, like not even aware that you've left yet.
Yeah. And yeah, Price would, like walking out of his shop and avoiding running into people that are walking down the street, probably. Not being used to so many people being out and about. He would look over at Altani and Vimac and, well, we should probably go see Luana and maybe the mayor.
Yep,
Yeah.
that sounds good to me. I'll make my way up there with you guys.
So y'all can give me perception checks. 15 is good enough.
Okay.
So with a 15, as you're walking through the crowd, you can hear the sound of something, a tiny borker. And eventually through the crowd, a tiny little dog, very familiar, like darts up to you and just starts barking and like has like it's on its hind legs, like trying to get uppies, and it runs up to let's see. I think it'd probably be Altani or Price. Actually, no, because it would be Price. So it would run up to Price because Price was there the longest. Price was there for that. Yeah. So this little dog, this little corgi, would run up to Price and like be on its hind legs, just like barking and wagging its tail. It is that little dog that you gave back to that little girl, and it recognized you and darted over.
He'd probably like scoop it up and turn to Altani and Vimac. This little guy's been around for a while. He's almost he's just holding the dog up in his arms, but in a way that you both could just kind of like give it a head pat or just scratch or something like that if you wanted.
Well, it's probably almost as big as you are. I mean, because corgis are
Yeah.
like a good couple feet long. So you probably have it like up under the arms and it's like dangling, but its feet are basically resting on the floor.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's so
And
cute.
then,
I'll give him a pet.
kind of Price will like with that sort of imagery, Price will just kind of like give it a hug and then let it go and kind of rub the top of its head and then just kind of look down at it. Well, I'll be back. We gotta go talk to Luana.
And you would eventually hear like a familiar girl calling the pupper's name, and it barks and turns around and heads back. And yeah, you make your way into the Adventurers Guild. And inside there is, like, as you step inside, there is an actual front desk, not just a room with file cabinets. It's like there's a front desk. There seems to be like some kind of a secretary. Seems like a a goblin woman just sitting at this desk, and she has like bifocals on, and she has like a ponytail that's like tied, very well dressed, very eloquent, and she seems to be neat, like nose deep in like writing something in like a journal, and she's pretty very goblin esque, little freckles on her face. She looks up and sees you guys walk in.
Oh, hello, hello. What can the guild do for you today?
As she like quickly stops writing in her little ledger and crosses like folds her hands in front of her very very professionally.
What are we doing?
Say that again. I couldn't hear you. Are you all right, sir?
Are we inside? She's inside the Adventurers Guild,
Yep, there's a front
like
desk.
receptionist. Okay. Well, if Vimax my phone keeps cutting out, so that's why I had to double check. If Vimax looks a little lost, I'll chime in. We're here to see Luana. Is she available?
Oh, Luana. Let's see.
And she flips through her ledger.
The guild, yeah, the guild mistress.
Luana, and you are?
Well, I'm Altani, and we have Vimac and Price here as well. And we were checking back in. We just got back, and we have quite a lot to talk to her about.
Oh,
And then she stops and like puts her finger on a page and like runs her finger across some words.
yes, you are definitely expected.
Great. So where should we go?
Oh, right this way.
As she hops down off of the like it's a normal sized chair, and you realize like she was just sitting on like a bunch of padding. So she like hops down and then like hops down again.
Come.
My wall.
And you follow her through like a couple of doors. And they've been doing pretty well. Like this seems like the most structurally intact building all of the town. Probably makes sense as adventurers do be getting rowdy. Um, and eventually she leads you like through the hallway where there's several doors. Sounds like maybe people are having conversations in some of them. And then she leads you to what looks like a main office, and inside is Luana and the Drider lady. As Luana seems, as usual, very much in the books.
Oh, you've made it. Wonderful.
And she gestures as there's like a long, not really that long of a table, but just a long table that can clearly seat all of you. And there's chairs and maybe like a little fruit basket in the middle of it. As she goes to like a file cabinet, pulls something out, and opens it, and then puts it back in.
So, I take it you have some interesting news after your weeks of travel?
We do. First, we do have some very sad news. It was thanks to the bravery of Kaito that we were able to even make it back. Unfortunately, Kaito was not able to make it out with us. We don't know what ended up happening to him, but it doesn't look good.
Oh, that is unfortunate.
My
But thanks to him,
condolences.
we were. Thank you. we were able to make it out, and good thing too. My brother was in the area of where one of the caves we were exploring led out. Seems to be that was the teleporting cave that we had encountered, or that Kalia and you all had encountered before. And it ended up imploding. We believe from some portals generated by what I learned was a Reaper. Are you familiar with those entities?
My dear, there are so many things that call themselves Reapers.
Well, apparently they are not from this realm. Um, they're from the same realm. You remember those portals with the tentacles that we were encountering before?
Yes.
Apparently, probably from the same realm that those came from. It was generating all sorts of horrors when we ran into one. Probably could have taken us out without even looking, but it just toyed with us for a while and then left through a portal. But before we encountered it, we also encountered a succubus who was right about just escaped right in front of us into a portal with some imps. But it looks like the infernals are fighting with this thing too. And apparently, the kind of reaper, I guess, that I'm referring to is a creature of ultimate evil. Apparently, it was what was at the reason for all of the crazy magic going on around. And at least with it going back to its own realm, we seem to have a little bit more stabilization in magic now, but it doesn't sound like it's anywhere close to the end of the trouble. But we will probably need bigger guns if we're going to be encountering these things again.
Then that means
And
we
then,
need a much larger guild house. Well, as far as the infernals, we are aware that something has, well, at least the hells up in arms. And she
well, it sounds like
pulls out, like, a file and a ledger. Yes. The Rafiki documentation would convey that we are dealing with something rather large, but that unfortunately is outside of our current pay grade. We can only deal with what we can locally.
well, apparently the area that we're in seems relatively clear at this point, but I'm not sure how soon that'll change. Also, too, it does appear that at least one celestial creature or celestial being was also joining with this Reaper. And I'll describe what we had seen about the armored guy on the bull,
Hmm.
which is highly disturbing. So, I'm not sure how corruption's getting through the celestial realm, but it appears to be affecting quite a few realms.
Well, that does not sound optimal. But like I
I would say
said,
not. No.
I only have so much information available to me. Like I said, the Rafiki documents are from our more subtle houses, and they were able to report and confirm essentially what you have, well, conveyed about the Hells being up in arms. Dire times indeed.
True. And then I'll relay the rest of our travels to her as well.
So I take it the monastery has. Their troubles have been taken care of?
It appears so. And at
Wonderful.
least, one seed of evil is resolved for now. If anything, it'll take them, I'm sure, time to reestablish here again. That Hydro had been there probably for quite some time.
Well, I doubt the Hydra was the most dangerous thing that they've had to deal with, but they are very capable, and I trust that they will have their monastery back up in order in no time. They are quite disciplined.
True. They seem to be doing pretty well when we last stopped by.
Well,
Well,
that is good news. And then she nods to the drider off in the corner, and they, move forward and throw just a bag on the table. Seems pretty heavy. The jingling of coin. Your
Would
payment.
that be the payment for the team? Thank you. I'll hand it to uh, Vimac or well, I guess let's see who'd be standing nearest to me. Price is good with money, Mr. Salesman. So I'll give it to Price. Be like, Price, will you take this back to the tavern for me and we'll divvy it up there? Also, and I'm like standing there this whole time and I'm kind of like jiggling, like wiggling a little bit because I'm still trying to hold that thing under my arm. Be like, by the way, one other really interesting thing. I'm like, have you ever seen something like this before? And I'm gonna like hold it in front of me. I came across it
Probably
in that
probably a
cave.
mimic. They do that.
I
That's
mean,
my
it was
guess.
able to levitate, and it looked like a grouping of treasure. And then when it got into my bag, it kind of transformed my bag into this.
Then a levitating mimic.
I've never really, and mimics can transform other objects as well. Not into them, but can transform the other objects.
She just kind of shrugs.
I'd be grateful if you could pass along the info of this thing and see if we can get some more information on it.
I'll do what I can
Thank you.
with not having the object in my
Oh,
possession to send to the research and development team.
fair. Well, if we can't find anything else, we could probably give it to you, although I'm getting kind of attached to it, wiggly though it is.
It seems to
And
not want to be attached to you, though.
well, I think it just
Is
wants to
this
go no matter where it is.
is this the equivalent of some kind of a toxic relationship?
No, it's just lively. And I'm going to pet it. I kind of wonder where it wants to go, but we've been, a little busy fighting for our lives, then trying to get back here to check on Delruth, so we haven't really had a chance to explore that. There was one other thing, and I'm going to flip through my book back to a page I had folded in. The well on the east side of town looks like it might have led to something underground. Seemed kind of sketchy. Have you had anybody check that out lately?
Yes, actually, in the rebuild, it has been handled.
Ah, good. I'll cross it off my list and put a check mark next to it. Well, I think that's all I have for now. Did you guys want to ask anything in particular?
Yeah, I'll ask. So, is my temporary assignment over, or am I to stay on for longer?
Indeed, your assignment has been accomplished, completed, and she holds up a finger and kind of looks off in the distance for a moment. And your rank within the guild has been upgraded. Congratulations.
Oh, great.
Thank you.
Oh, and out of my pay, I would like to take probably just as much as I need to get me to my next job. And then the rest I want to put into a fund to build a giant statue in the center of town of a centaur named Kaito.
I love
Well,
that.
you may want to speak to the mayor about that, and of course
will.
the accountant. As
I will do that.
almost like clockwork, you hear heavy set footsteps walking through the town outside.
Probably go catch the mayor.
I'll follow you out. Thank you,
That'd
Luana.
be- Move him here. Unhide him.
Step outside, heading toward the loud footsteps. And
Mayor Chungus is Mayor Chungusin.
and then once I get a sight of him, Mayor Chungus, I have a word.
Of course, of course. I always have time to talk to my esteemed citizens.
And he slaps his
my-
gut and it just undulates.
So my assignment here has been accomplished, and I will be probably heading out soon after I rest up. But out of my pay, I was wanting to put together a fund to construct a giant statue in honor of Kaito, who did not come back, but heroically saved us and most likely the town and the area so that we could make it out as well. And in honor of Kaito, I would like a statue built. Would that be possible?
Of course, of course. Anything, it makes perfect sense for the hero of Delruth. The sacrifice that was made, so that we can continue forth.
And as a bonus, could we get it some magic imbued in it so that it's anti-goblin? As in, goblins can't destroy it or mess with it.
I can't say I know much about how the magic works, but I can definitely go and ask around.
I think it would be hilarious when the goblins go around to vandalize it, if it just magically went back to its original state. That would bring me much joy.
I'll see what I can do.
Thank you. And it was great serving this town here while I was in my short stay.
Yes. I definitely understand the life of adventurers. You guys are always out and about, saving the world. How honorable.
As he has a giant, like, just like a leg of lamb. A whole leg. Just like in his hand. Cooked, of course. He just takes a big old bite out of it.
Well, I do have to get to my mayoral duties.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for being such accommodating guests and helping us rebuild and become something more than I ever thought we could be.
And he slaps his gut in excitement. And does anybody else want to talk to him before he heads back out and about? All right. So Mayor Chungus
Okay.
starts. What?
Oh, I was actually, all I said while I was muted was, sorry, that I don't think so. So moving on. Sorry.
So he starts heading back, but there's like a stop. Kind of sounds like he stops and then turns back around and then looks at Price, like pokes his head back at the door.
Don't wish. Did you ever get that wagon that I commissioned?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Wonderful, wonderful.
And with it completely trusting you, like not even need like doing an insight or anything, he just ducks his head back out the door and starts walking off. So, as you all have, got back to town and got some time to relax and meet up with people and, I guess tie up some loose ends, as it were, the day shifts to night, or to evening, I should say. And basically, you know, you guys are left to your devices in the morning. Like, whatever you want to do during the night, you're definitely free to. Um, Nothing really happens, so you'd be able to get you would get a nice full night's rest in the tavern that is much higher quality than last you were here. Like, they actually have like nice linens and clean bed sheets and like a bathhouse next to it. Um, it is much nicer, but it's 10 times nicer than being out in the forest on the dirt in a cave. And it feels like so long since the last you officially had a carefree long rest in Delruth. And then, morning comes back around and it kind of sounds like, people are preparing.
Before the the cycle of night, I guess. Um, After Chungus had probably walked away, uh, Price would have grabbed a mug and filled it from one of these barrels with some ale, um, and probably like walked past the table that has been in here and kind of kept us in the town fed for so long, and kind of pat the one of the legs of it, um, and he'll go over to another one of the tables, probably like a circular table that's off maybe in a corner, um, and the bag of money, of coin that Altanian handed to Price, he'll just set it on the table and kind of go to start counting it out and divvying that, kind of however we'd want to do that. Not really worried about having to figure that out, but uh, but just kind of like narratively that he'd be working on that, and um, like after a while probably get it all split up the way that we want it. However, if we wanted to set aside, I know Vimac mentioned um setting aside some for a statue for Kaito, and if there were other things that we might wanted to set things aside for, uh just basically, I'm assuming that we're all just kind of sitting around this table and enjoying being in the tavern and probably reminiscing on some things, and we're all just going through the coin and like I said, divvying it up. And then I guess as like evening starts to roll in before we all go off and get some rest. Price normally just like sleeps in his suitcase, so you probably see him, pull his suitcase up and like set it up to where you could tell he's kind of getting ready to go to sleep. Um, he'll click the latches open, and it'll open up, and then he'll look to Altani and Vimac, and he'll kind of like gesture to the briefcase. Uh, I don't think you guys have ever seen it in here, have you?
No, actually.
Mm-mm. No.
Well, come on, take a look. And he'll kind of climb in, and you'll almost kind of see him. You've seen this before, but it's just he like I did probably never gets normal, just stepping into a briefcase and just kind of disappearing as he's kind of looking like he's walking downstairs almost, or a ladder. And yeah, both are invited inside.
Well, all right. Thank you. I have been curious. I'll carefully make my way in.
So it's like probably as you're walking in, you'll see Price just in front of him, or in front of you, and like, oh, you, sorry, watch your head. You're a lot taller than I am. And it's just kind of the first walking in, just kind of getting past that lip of the briefcase. But then once you get all the way inside, it's like way more spacious than you would have imagined. It is a large workshop. There's multiple tables and workbenches. You'll see, different assortments of tools kind of pinned up to the wall. There's like pages from journals that are kind of stuck against walls, or laid up on certain sort of tables and benches, and little things that are kind of in the midst of being worked on, like a wheel that's not necessarily completed yet. And if you like, as you're looking around, you'll see that there's a few shelves with odds and ends and kind of little knickknacks, and what would be almost like little toys, or kind of things that he's made to practice just certain things, like, oh, I'm gonna make a ball because I want to practice making something round, or um um a lot of little wood carvings and things like that. And then off to the side, there'll be a couple shelves, and on these shelves you'll see very intricately carved like figurines of each one of the people that have been in our party. And they're like very detailed and kind of positioned, in a way. They're all like painted very, precisely. And then on the table, I guess it's kind of like a workbench where there's shelves on top, and then beneath is like a larger table. You'll see a bunch of the teeth from the Hydra. There's probably 3 or 4 laid out there. And then you'll see like some leather pouches, what look to be what we would probably hold our coin in, or something like that, And Price will kind of like be just letting you guys look around, and he'll be kind of like pointing things out here and there, like, oh, I was working on this, actually. This didn't take me too long. You'd be surprised. He's kind of like, gabbing a little bit about stuff because he doesn't really get to show this off. But then eventually he's going to walk over to said, workbench, and grab 2 of these leather like pouches. And he'll hand one of them like each to you. And inside, you kind of like feel inside there's something solid. It's not coin. And if you opened it, I don't know if you would open it or if you just wait. But I guess I'll let you guys decide that. And I'll tell you whenever you decide to open it. But you'll kind of see, it looks to be like this is a large room. I mean, probably like 10, 12-foot ceiling type of large room. He's got to be able to get up on top of a wagon, and Scooter's got to fit in here, Speaking of, there's kind of a little alcove off to the side. I say little, it's like a a second room. For Scooter, you can kind of see that there's a nice like fluffy little bed that's kind of got some feathers, some of his extra feathers, just kind of laid out on it. And past these tables, there's kind of a small little living area for Price. It's very quaint. It's just, you could tell the majority of this is a workshop. But it's also very homey. Like the whole thing feels like a home, even though most of it's just workspace. But behind some of these tables, you know, there's almost kind of like a partition you could walk around, and lo and behold, there is a fully completed wagon. It was the one that I guess technically Merchungus was just referencing. And you can kind of tell he kind of gets to where this partition is, and just on the other side of it, almost just waiting for you guys to walk around to see the big reveal. And you can tell he's standing up straight, kind of hikes his pants up, and his cloak's billowing. So if you'd walk around, you'd see this wagon, and it's fully complete. But if you start to look closer, he went a little too overboard with it, for what it was meant to be, just as like a hauling wagon for the town, just for people to kind of rent and use. It's very elegant and ornate. You can tell that there's like all of the grain in all of the wood matches. Like he specifically chose, you know, different pieces, and that this took a lot of time. And then the closer you look, you'll start to see carvings and engravings, like actual depictions of the journey that we've been on. It's all just kind of memorialized in this wagon that would almost be more of like an art exhibit in a museum or something.
That's amazing.
Which is kind of, when he presents it to the mayor, he'll probably almost like suggest that we don't really use it for for the intended purpose, because he went a little too much. But yeah, there's again, there's kind of depictions of everyone in the party, all of the things that we had done, just even little things that we had come across, just along the way. And it's like almost anything that you can think of, and things that you probably forgot, are all there, you know, and even things that Vimac and Altani wouldn't remember, because this was pretty much from his memory of when he first met everyone. And yeah, it's like, again, like just finely crafted, very elegant and ornate, and he kind of like pats the side of the wagon. I think this, yeah, I gotta say, this is my finest work. And you can tell he just looks really proud.
Very nice indeed.
Yeah, you can tell, like, I'm in awe as I'm looking around, like, this is incredible. I mean, I know I saw you in here, like, working, but, like, where did you find the time to do all of this? This is really incredible. I mean, I love taking little notes and sketches in my journal, but it's nothing compared to this. You've really got talent.
Oh well, thank you. Yeah, I don't really need a whole lot of sleep, but yeah, I wanted to show you guys this, and I guess in the morning, I'll present it off to the mayor, and then I don't know, I might, well, I'll have to build another one and have to find someone to sell it to. So I've got the itch again, you know? Hadn't made one of these in a while.
Yeah, I get that. I'm not a crafter, but I mean, when you're bringing your workshop with you, I can imagine how challenging it would be to get stuck in one place. You'd want to probably keep exploring. I mean, you build sell wagons after all. That's not really a stationary sort of business.
Good, exactly. And I know where to come back to if I can't find anyone to sell a wagon to. I'll just give one to old Marquette or something.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, I bet they'd love that.
You could have chompers pull it away, pull the kids around town. You see him pull out his journal and starts jotting down notes.
I could just see chompers. You'd probably have to put the harness down lower, but he'd probably be good for pulling him around.
And what's his name trying to direct him with the super slow speech? I can't remember.
Oh yeah. We still weren't able to find a solution to that. We should check in and see if we could help with that.
Maybe one of those potions or samples we gave him might help out. What if he drank the one that turned Gnome into a dinosaur? I don't know.
I wonder what that would do.
Well, it might revert him back to a teenager.
That's true. I mean, is he a dinosaur? He's a turtle. How are they related?
Yeah, just a teenage turtle. That's probably a ninja.
Right? Well, Price, thank you so much for letting us into your space here.
Yeah.
You really created something incredible. And your carvings are just immaculate. Really incredible. I'll open this when we retire to the tavern tonight. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Oh,
thank you.
absolutely. Thank you too.
I really do hope we can continue adventuring together.
I think there's probably plenty still to be done, but I don't know. I'm getting old. I might just need to go back to wagons.
Well, that's
this
fair.
does seem like a fine place to settle down. When I'm done adventuring, I might head back here.
Oh,
And I should.
we could all ask the mayor, maybe in the morning. I'll kind of, well, I'm not going to speak for both of you, but I might ask if I could get like a little place I could rent just to have a place, because this is pretty much what I got. He's just kind of gesturing to the briefcase.
I mean, it looks like with all the new room they have here, I bet they could definitely build you a workshop.
Yeah, you have a nice storefront for all your woodworks.
Oh, I could be Glorb's neighbor.
Yeah, well, it might be good to be more on the outskirt so that you could have an open area to store finished wagons that haven't sold yet.
Oh, that's true. Well, I appreciate both of you and just wanted to, I guess, share all this because, well, no one really gets to see it except for Scooter.
Well, thank you.
We appreciate you too, little buddy. And thank you so much for sharing all this. This is so amazing.
When I finally do make
honestly,
it back here, I better not find you and Glorb just staring into his fire.
yeah, that could get a little dangerous. Oh, in fact, that reminds me. I should go check on Glorb and make sure he's not stuck staring at that gem again. But maybe he'll be able to use it. Well, we should let you rest and probably get some rest ourselves.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. And she's thinking like she wants to open the box that you gave her, but she doesn't want to be, you know, crass about it. So she's trying to like,
Yeah.
give you your space and go open it.
Yeah, yeah. He just does like his really big bow while his cloak is just billowing.
Amazing. Altani will bow right back and then lean over and give him a smooch on the head. Glad we got to adventure with you. It was quite the treat. And then she'll head out. I guess I'll
Yeah,
let's see. Yeah.
I was
Oh,
gonna
go
say
ahead.
if both of you guys climb out, then you'll probably just see um, the lid of the briefcase just kind of slowly close, and then when it shuts, is both of the latches will clasp, and then he's pretty much going to sleep for the night, I guess.
Yeah, it's been quite the trip.
All right. So you guys all settle in for the evening, to which
Yep.
you have, like I said, you have a nice, long, restful, comfortable evening.
Amazing.
And, morning comes around, and kind of sounded like people want to, their characters have adventures to go on. So let's start with Vimac. So morning rolls around. I'd imagine everybody's awake at this point. And are there any like preparations you want to do? Any goodbyes you want to say? As this is, your final. That was your final like restful night in this town for probably quite some time.
Definitely plan to say bye to Altani and Price. I didn't really interact much with the other people, so I might say bye if I see them on my way out, and poke my head into the guild master to ask if I had any new assignments and where I need to head. So
Nope, no new assignments, sir.
As the goblin adjusts her glasses.
then, okay, I will head back to say my goodbyes.
Safe travels.
All right, and then start heading out. What about Altani?
Well, after saying bye to Vimac, wishing him well, she'll make her way over to Glorb's to just check that he's okay and hasn't gotten too entranced by the gem. Just check in on him. Oh, and also too, before she would have gone to bed, she would have probably opened that box.
So
What's in the box?
it's just like a kind of like a coin pouch.
A pouch of coin.
But inside there would be a necklace that has a hydra tooth on it. There's
Oh,
just
that's awesome.
a hole that's been kind of bored through the top. And then there's also a large, it would probably like, probably like a $50 size, if you will, or a dollar size coin. I guess I'm maybe thinking about the wrong thing. A $half is bigger. Anyway,
Yeah, $half are like twice the size of a quarter, if I remember right, something like that.
yeah, so it's a larger coin like that, but it's a wooden coin and it's weighted. It's made from very dense, like probably cedar, and it's been sanded smooth, and on one side is very similar to the figurine that you saw, probably the one that you saw of Altani in his workshop, is kind of etched into one of these sides, and the flip side of it is kind of like what would be the equivalent of a group photo of all of us,
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, I
and
love
we've
that.
all never been together at the
Yeah.
same time, but it is like just kind of like a mental image that Price has of everyone is as if we were just kind of like lined up, you know, taking a big group photo. Um, and then yeah, um, as another sort of memento, there's another small little figurine, kind of matching the size of the ones that you saw in his workshop. But it was one that you didn't see in his workshop, and it's a little figurine of Scooter, and it's all like carved out, um, very intricately. It's not just a depiction. You know exactly that's not just a goose. You're like, that's Scooter. Um, so yeah, just a couple little trinkets, and it would basically, Vimac would have gotten the same thing, except for the coin would have been specific to him.
That's so cool. Well, I will go find you after I check on Glorb, just since Glorb is like right here. Because Altani will really want to give him a personal thank you for that. That's really awesome.
Glorb is currently out and about.
All right, so not stuck.
That's
So
good.
that was my main concern. I won't disturb him. I'll go find Price and give him my heartfelt thanks. Try not to gush too much because I'm just so impressed at his craft ability, and I'm just like, wow, like this is amazing. How did I not realize he was doing all this stuff while we were traveling? This is crazy. Um,
He's probably in the tavern at this point. Like, um, his briefcase is sitting over in the corner, closed, and you probably see Scooters just right outside, sitting, snacking on something. And he'll be inside, just probably having he's probably got like a bowl of fruit and a cup of orange juice or something like that.
nice. Well, Price, I really just love this stuff. I mean, this is just amazing. When were you even working on all this? I feel like you barely had time to do any of this, and you made stuff for all of us.
Oh well, uh, I got plenty of time on my hands when I'm down in here not working on wagons, and I don't, like I said, I don't really sleep a whole lot, so I can just carve carve a little bit here, carve a little bit there. The teeth were obviously the most recent thing because we just got those a couple days ago. But when we were resting in the forest and the cave just kind of went poof, it dawned on me I kind of want to do something to remember the occasion. Have something specific to hold on to.
Well, I love them. I'm already like wearing the necklace, not just like blinged out. And I got a special little pouch to like put the coin in. Like this is probably one of the coolest things I have ever seen. You guys have absolutely hands down been my favorite party to work with. No, I will definitely be keeping you in mind if I need any sort of wagons or wagon-like items.
Oh yeah, well, I guess I don't know how often we'll all be stopping by here, but I might I might stop by here from time to time just to see if anyone's, you know, dropped some mail for me or something.
The long
Oh,
goodbye.
I bet you'll have some mail here. In her notebook, she's going to be like, note to self, be sure to send lots of mail to Price at Delruth. Well, I'll let you get back to your breakfast. Got to check in with Luana. But hope you enjoy your travels and we'll see you around.
Oh, yeah, you too. Be safe.
Thank you. I can't guarantee that because it seems like an adventurer's job is never really safe. But, do what I can.
It's just kind of nod.
You're like, I mean, you live with Scooter. you know.
All right. So you head to Luana.
hmm Just make my way up. Be like, well, Luana, we finally had a chance to get some rest. Is there, do you need some more help here around town, or did you want to send me back to the main guild? Has been a while since I've been back.
Well, actually, I have this for you. And she hands you a letter.
Oh, I'll open it.
It is a letter from Kalia.
Oh, hey! Wow, long time no hear. I'll read it
It
through.
it would appear that the town that she went back to, take care of, things have gotten much worse.
Oh no. Oh, that's awful. I'll relay to Luana. Like, it sounds like Kali is actually in a bit of trouble. Well, if you don't need me right away, I'm gonna head over and help her out. But I'll send you notice where I'll be, so if you need me to come back, I can.
Very
But
well. Do what you must. There are no assignments currently that I'm sure a couple of goblins couldn't handle.
fair enough. Well, you've all done really wonderful things with town here. I'm really glad to see it thriving. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you around.
You
And I will head
probably
out.
won't. And then you head out.
You're like, I'll wave.
All right, and Price.
Yeah.
Price heading out.
Oh, yep, sorry, that was muted. I got a phone call randomly. Um, yeah, he's kind of taking his time, um, enjoying this last little breakfast here, and then grab his briefcase and step outside and kind of give Scooter a knowing nod, and just look at Scooter and be like, "We'll be back, buddy. We'll be back." And yeah, start walking.
All right. So as you all go your separate ways, departing from Delruth, looking back over the adventures that you've had, the people you've met, the close calls that you've survived, those whose fate is unknown, the knowledge gained, the mystery solved, the alliances established. All of this culminates into the end of this chapter, the end of this chapter of your lives, the chapter of Delruth, the chapter that is equally unforgettable, but also potentially a diving board into more interesting things down the line. And as you all start to go your separate ways outside of the town and looking back, and all the memories of flashing in your mind of everything that's happened and transpired, there's almost like a pause as very thick storm clouds just almost instantaneously roll in and the sky darkens, and from the sky a colossal, you've seen this before, some kind of a rip in reality, as there is an amalgamation of colossal tendrils reaching down towards the town, and it's almost like everything freezes for a moment as the villagers all stop what they're doing and look up with wide eyes and open mouths agape. And as these amalgamation of tendrils look like they're just about to touch down, almost like some giant squid, you can't even see the full body. It's very similar to what you guys have been dealing with. It is at that moment you see another much smaller portal appear just under it, and you hear the war cries of a shirtless barbarian. And he is fucking pissed. And you just see, like, he doesn't even have his axe out. He just like flying through the air at like Mach speed, and atop his shoulder with a sword in hand, a gnome. And it is just with so much speed and force that you see, as we know, a particular individual by the name of Gan, very recognizable, as he soars through the sky and shoulder checks the colossal creature, and it gets forced back into wherever it was from. And you see the two entities with, well, one of them with rage in their eye, and the other with, well, you can't really tell because he's so small and so far away, but you just see it just gets forced back into the portal, and it's almost like when the camera zooms in on Gan, one hand like probably has his like axe out, and the other one has like a giant middle finger as he's just forcing this thing back into whatever depths it came from, and the Terran reality seals itself as everything fades to black and the credits start to roll.
And then you hear off to the
Nice.
side, Altani, Kaido's going to be all right.
There's gonna be like a kind of the credits. It'll cut to these little scenes. I'm sure that's like one of those. It just rolls some credits and then it cuts to all Tanya just like saying that. Then it'll cut to Price, and Price is just kind of watching this with a horrified face. And then after everything happens, he's just gonna slowly turn to Scooter. That was pretty badass.
Does it then cut over to Vimac having discussions with his murderous summon about the next job they're
Yeah.
going on?
Heist is like, that's what we gotta do.
Like, that looks like fun. Let's go murder some tentacle things again.
That's what it was. Yeah. So basically, it was like Gan shoulder checked it back into whatever it came from, while Gnome was deflecting any attacking tendrils heading towards them.
Nice.
That's what it was.
Oh, there was one thing.
And I'd even say like that was probably like the credits start to roll, and then it stops, and then it shows like, then it shows like you guys' scenes, and then the credits continue to roll.
Yeah. There was one thing I knew I was forgetting something as far as the workshop, and there's probably a couple other things because I thought about that whole thing for a while, but there was a reference in there that I forgot to mention. You would have seen a wooden looking uh, airship that has these odd sort of wings on it. It's not like a normal ship. And it would be hanging kind of on a very thick wire with a counterweight sort of block at the other end. And when you would have walked in, it probably would have not immediately caught your eye, but it would have been like spinning around, just kind of like it's perpetually moving. This like counter block kind of keeps it in this slow
Ruined
motion.
the scene. Forgetting a detail.
And that was a reference to Max's character. There was little things all over the workshop, and that was one thing I forgot to mention.
Oh, nice.
And thus concludes The Wanderers, episode 95, the epilogue.
It was fun.
That's awesome.
That was
Yeah,
fun.
that was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. What a great wrap up.
I loved the town aspect. The town building was new and kind of fresh.
Looks like all that hard work paid off.
Yeah, that was a cool sense of accomplishment. You know, especially for character purposes. It's like, yeah, the city was almost burnt to the ground, and now look where it's at. So that was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Charlie has opinions about it too.
Alrighty. With that, man, that concludes Wanderers.
All the sessions, like Cube said, it's like 95. Been at this for a while.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Cubed, thank you for putting up with
Thanks,
all of
man.
us and
Yeah, seriously.
this
Thank
session.
you.
Um,
Really keeping the thread of it going.
it's been it's been a lot of fun.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed it has.
Thanks for creating such an immersive world for us.
It's kind of my
It's-
job.
Well, what's next on the docket for you guys?
Alrighty. Like I said, with that being said, thank you guys for being here. All freaking 94 episodes. 94? I think 95. 94. Thank you guys for hanging out, sticking through, sticking it out. Burp. Yeah. It's been a journey. It has been a fun journey, a fun experiment with town building. Like yeah, we had a lot of fun. There was a lot of ups and downs and tests, and we learned a lot, and just sort of, just thinking about it. Almost 2 years, this campaign. Man, been a hell of a ride. Been a hell of a ride. Hell of a ride. Yeah, damn. But that, like I said, this chapter, just, you know, this chapter of the book comes to a close, but there's always more chapters later. Um, Man, I can't even. Man, hell of a ride. Hell of a ride. Um, yeah, so I guess for inquiring minds, typically we, as this is the last episode of The Wanderers, um, usually I do an announcement, you know, next week we do this every Wednesday at 5:30 Pacific, but that is officially at its close. That is officially the end of this campaign. Um, I don't really have plans for a Wednesday replacement for now. Pretty much going to be back to the usual like variety. 6 o'clock Pacific back to it. Um, such as tomorrow. But for inquiring minds, the Tuesday game is still going pretty strong. Um, yeah, the scheduling boss became the issue with this game, so it's like it's time to wrap it up. It's time to wrap it up. But yeah, we do this over on Twitch, Twitch TV/Cube222. Typically, we do this every Wednesday, but I think Wednesdays have now been reclaimed for Variety Night of Vigima Games, and who knows what we'll be playing on Wednesdays now, at least for the foreseeable future. Um, yeah, it's been a journey. I guess until next time, y'all. Stay good, stay safe. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. And I guess until next time. All right. All right. Yep, yep. Bye. Hell of a ride. Hell of a ride. I guess I'll catch you tomorrow. All right. Have a good one. Have a wonderful morning, evening, or whatever it is in between for you. And mayhaps we'll get to catch each other again in the next chapter of adventures. Till then, though, party on, y'alls. Party on.